feel like it should provide what it needs to provide for a limited amount of time, or as long as, you know, they're following the rules, and there's like rules to it. When it comes to, I'm trying to keep it short and doing these points because I feel like I'm more conservative as far as immigration goes, but I also think that there should be a process for those who have been here for a really long time. There maybe a 20 plus, 10 plus years and have established themselves and they're paying into the system. They should be allowed some type of process to allow them to make it legal for them. They've been here, they've put in their time, and they're also putting back into the system. So I think there should be a process for them, but I am definitely not for open borders and allowing just any and everybody to come here. I believe there are rules and regulations as to what would qualify you to become a citizen. I think there is a process to everything, and everyone should be afforded that process or have to go through that process, especially if people have gone through the process and they waited those years to become legal. I mean, that's something to be really proud of, that you were able to go through the process and become the legal citizen. So yeah, I think there's a process to that. I just find that when we focus more on what is being spent and what is actually coming back to us, because us as taxpayers, you know, we put in towards that federal budget. It's our money. So I want to make sure that that is being spent wisely. Don't take my money when it doesn't need to be taken or put towards some program that we got going on in another country. No, I want the money to circulate within this country. You know, we can provide aid out elsewhere if needed, but of course you can't take advantage there either. So I feel like there's a balance between what should be given federally and locally, but I feel like the way the system should be is that it helps to lift everybody up. We shouldn't be dependent on those who's making the 1% to trickle their money all the way down to us all the time. You know, I think it's important for you to have some stability in yourself. And of course, when you have your family, that increases your income and we build together. We shouldn't have to be dependent on any federal or local agency in order to build ourselves up. So okay. I don't know if that answered the question on if I'm more conservative or liberal, but I feel like I'm a little bit of both.
I'm ready for Ian to here.
To answer, I believe, all right, what I think both are and the differences, conservative tends to lean more towards, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I was saying Ian, you personally.
All right, making sure I hear me personally, how do I define my political position, or how do I define?
Yeah, because I don't want a synopsis on what you guys think it is. I want a synopsis of you personally, what you think it is personally to yourself. That's all.
All right. Well, I would just say this. Well, first, politically, I probably lean more closer to how Amanda Seals spoke on a lot of things. I'm not a liberal. I'm more of a radical. Okay. I think I would have done the same thing to 20 liberal debaters as she did with the 20 conservative ones, easily. I am more, you know, as you mentioned, there are some viewpoints that I am conservative on. I'm against abortion. I am for free speech. I support that. Even the speech that I disagree with, which is why I'm against what was happening with regards to Charlie Kirk. I am for being able to have my weapon, especially as a black man in this country with the history of anti-black racism. I want an equal fighting chance in those type of situations, and a lot. So, liberal. I don't know. Radical, yeah, I can, but I am not resistant to change if the change makes sense. Which is liberals are want to in a lot of cases want to make change for the sake of making change, regardless if it makes sense or not. In many instances, I don't want to, for example, embrace an ideology that says a boy can be a girl and a man can go into a woman's bathroom if it doesn't make sense that really should, because there should be some things as objective truths. But um, so to not go into the whole synopsis, but I am, and I guess part that makes me more radical than liberal is that I am pro-black and I'm against. It's really I see the system with both liberals and conservatives. They're both working for the same people as far as on a political governmental level. In particular, for example, on the issue with APEC, there's no separation whatsoever between liberal and conservative on that front. They're both locked in, arms locked up, and
Sure.
marching alongside, with Netanyahu
Sure.
and those cronies. So
Hmm.
we have to be very careful with regards to that. I think that his death is definitely creating more of a polarization, and people wanted to initially blame, which the irony of it, wanted to blame liberalism, this, that, and the other, in a lot of Charlie Kirk's positions, speaking about gang violence, et cetera, so on. And the person that took his life was uh, a person that came from a household that would be considered conservative, and from in a very, very, very white state that would be considered Christian, et cetera, so on, and out of a two-parent household. So I found that it's definitely uh, ironic, to say the least,
Yeah.
that what
Well,
he kind of predicted,
we're gonna get to
and
that part
he
too.
in his own words was, sometimes the loss is, a loss of innocent life is worth it.
Right.
Okay, I hear you, Charlie. So I guess should I co-sign and believe you on that one? And then last but not least, we're the major conversation and topic around this with Charlie Kirk that we're highlighting. It's been an excess of 10,000 murders by gun violence in this country this year. We're talking about Charlie Kirk.
Right.
There's a lot of other people there, and even that day, there were people whose lives were taken.
Students.
Well, in the
Absolutely.
schools and things of that nature. So, I think what's happening, unfortunately, is, and I see so many memes and everything. They're putting him in the same category as Dr. King, Malcolm X, JFK.
Who he said was awesome.
I am so like, what? But that's what's happening right now. Now that his death has made him a martyr, and they're going to make him something that he really wasn't. He's going to receive the presidential award. He's going to be all these other things. Now it's difficult to debate a person who's recently been murdered. Right? It's really to dismantle their character and who they were, because now all of a sudden he dies, and all of a sudden, well, he used to walk on water next to Jesus.
Yeah.
Now we're putting him in that type of situation. And I'm like, that's not what I saw. But
Well,
I'm gonna land because Eric Tony ain't saying nothing. I want you to be able to get through it. I'm muting myself.
well, yeah. I mean, that's all good because we're gonna some of the points you mentioned we're gonna get to too. I wanted to again let's pass because I want to see this whole conservative liberal thing. I want to see where you guys sit as far as what you think it is personally to yourself. So
Conservatism directly for me is I believe in a nuclear family. I believe in a traditional family. I don't. I was fine with civil unions. I was not fine with gay marriage. That's just me. That's just my personal preference. I'm conservative when it comes to those things conservatism has also helped me with hurt me with investments because I'm too conservative with investments. And so that conservative mindset is, I believe in a traditional family. I believe that if it's affordable to have a wife stay at home, if she desires to stay at home, my wife has been home for 20 years because she desired to stay at home. And I was like, well, we're going to be struggling a little bit, but, you want to do it, we do it. We homeschool. I wanted my daughter to be homeschooled because I wanted my daughter to have Bible study incorporated into her homeschooling before she got to high school, which I didn't think we were going to homeschool her for high school, and we didn't. The pandemic hit until we had to take her back home anyway after the first 3 months of school. But I believe in those type of views. That's my view of conservatism. I think the confusion is we have confused conservatism with righteousness. And those are two separate categories on two separate planes. And that's the confusion. The liberal part of me comes out. And I'll give a quick example. I was in the College of Lake County, and affirmative action, everybody in the class had to write about affirmative action. This white guy looks at me and he says, Tony, I bet you support affirmative action. Just because I was black, he made that statement. And I said, actually, I don't believe in affirmative action, but I support affirmative action 100% because of white men like you who make assumptions about black people all the time. And that's why we need to have something like that in place, because you're not judging me by the contents of my intelligence or my character. You just judge me based on my color. That's where liberalism comes in, because liberals are the ones who pick up the vanguard to fight. Period.
Okay.
So I'm gonna land there because I can get excited and I don't want to.
No, listen, it's all good. Now, I want to kick it to LaFonda and Yar. What's conservative and liberal for you personally?
So for me, I'm more of someone who like supports the school choice, like public charter schools, vouchers. I'm someone who believes that parents should have more control over what their kids are taught